I love that little red light. Ah!
Oh, Lola.
Hey there! Bob from Oregon's Constant Gardener. Welcome to the OCG Fam Show to you, my YouTube buddies. What's going on? What's that box for? Let me know in the comments. So it's viewer question day. I'm more relaxed, easy going, taking our time, just answering questions and rapping with Scott.
Rapping. We're rapping.
You just hit the mic.
I know.
All right.
Does it make a sound like this? Wow, wow.
It probably goes.
Wow. Think?
I don't know, maybe. It's not so much a big deal. You know, I used to have a box like that. Put my weed in it.
You never smoked weed?
Not really, no. I have. No,
I know you have.
Let's just say I've never
But
paid.
also, I could also cook with it in my spaghetti.
I've never paid for weed, is all I would say.
I was say you.
It's around, I'm like, yeah, hey. But I don't not smoke weed. Just saying that.
Yeah.
I'm not against it or anything, just...
You just don't go out searching for it. You're not standing in the line the day it legalized to make sure you were one of the very first people in Oregon to get a gram.
So you can say, hey, I bought a gram on day one.
Yeah, I still have yet to buy a gram of weed from a dispensary. I mean, they're great. I'm glad they're there.
Oh, well, yeah.
Oh, there's time.
It's awesome.
I bought Fico from a dispensary after the accident. Because I couldn't find any right out of the hospital, so I did buy some. Nice stuff, too. Siskiyou Naturals.
Yeah?
Really nice material.
Cool.
Then I found Williams Wonder Farm.
Killing it.
Oh,
Killing it.
that was a different level of good night. Called the zombie crawl.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
Or I'm not. I don't know.
Oh, there's no okay. Once you go to sleep, you don't wake up, and
well, at some point you wake up, right?
Oh yeah, you just
in the
don't
morning.
move. Your lower extremities stopped moving.
Huh.
So it's interesting when you get out of bed and your lower half doesn't want to, and your upper half is like, gotta go to the bathroom, and here we go. So yeah.
So 10, 15 hours later, both halves of your body get back in sync.
And that's when the pain sets in.
Yeah.
Although I just learned from one of my customers who's got some, throat cancer and bad stuff in life, but he's been taking it as a suppository and says that less zombie crawl, more pain control.
Oh, really? Well, a lot of people that have the migraines, they have the suppository things. I think it's migraines. There's something like that.
A lot of things. Well, yeah. A lot of teenagers, putting cough syrup up their butt now to get wasted. How weird is that? Have you seen those videos? It's awful.
Makes you glad you live this long.
Makes you glad you have not a daughter. But yeah, no, he said, go 1.5 inches in.
Uh-huh.
And you go past the blood to the brain. Because if you hit too short, you get the same effect, but faster.
Yeah. Which is a very precise part of your body, you'd see.
Woohoo! Yeah. And then if you go too deep, like 3 inches in, which at that point, what are you really
What are we doing here?
Yeah, what's the game plan? But at 1.5, though, it's the magic spot for that. Well, for medicine. Beyond that, you hit the kidneys, and that's a whole different good night.
Huh.
So, learned a little something online the other day.
Yes. I should say you're not
He's
a
been
doctor.
teaching me a lot. That guy's he's gone through a lot of medical crap, so.
This should not be construed as medical advice, though.
This is not medical. This is far from it. This is like this is crossing into fetish. But I think it takes us into the first one.
It does.
Pain, right?
Calbear 916. This is about the curling leaves. Is that the one? I got rid of the other one. Did you want the other question? All right. All right.
Whatever.
Okay. Hey there, Bob. I wanted to ask you guys, what should I do if my leaves are curling inward from the sides of them?
The sides.
I am using Nectar soil, and they are about 3 weeks into veg from clone. What should I do? Do I flush for a few days? Should I just keep doing the comprehensive regimen? I'm planning on vegging about 2 months. Thank you.
Well, I would this would be one of those emails I'd love to have as an email so I could write back about 5 or 6 questions.
Oh, so what were the questions you would...
I would want to know what the slurry is right now.
Sure.
I want to know what the pH especially is, because I'm guessing your pH is out of range at that age, being fresh. So I would check that pH while you're at it. Check the ppms. How often are you feeding? What are you feeding? What level are you feeding? I would imagine it's early veg, but I don't know. Are you doing the Spartan, Roman, Greek? Are you?
Well, it's a comprehensive regimen, which is kind of almost the Greek. There's just no Kraken and no Bloom Chaos.
So then, how often, or when was the last feeding? When was the last flush? Tacoing leaves. So, to me, I'm guessing you have a calcium issue.
But it could be not lack of calcium, but you're just not uptaking because of the pH.
Yeah. And I'm guessing you're probably high pH in the soil. I bet you're probably above 7.4, 7.5. My other question would be, where did you buy the soil? What's the location? That way, kind of track back to see, what batch it was. We can do there's numbers on the bags now. You can actually get the date code on the bottom.
Okay.
That'd have a lot of questions. What I would say right off the get-go, slurry. And just to answer a question right now, if you slurry right now and your pH was 7.5, just start feeding them at 6.3, 6.2.
So go lower than you would to bring it down.
Yeah, but don't go 5.8.
Don't go below the 6.3. Don't go out of range, but go to the bottom of the range.
And then water to where it's saturation, but not draining out the bottom. We don't want all of the pH correction to water away. We want it to go in there and react. But
it's not doing us any good if it's pouring out the bottom. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but you would also, get back to us with the answers to those questions, and we can talk about it more.
Yeah, thebeard at organsonly.com. Thebeard at organsonly.com.
There you go.
And I can copy Bob on those too. But
okay.
It would be nice to know those answers.
Well, you can just kind of go through it. Okay. So Uncle Matt has a question. He says, Bob, have a question on teas for feed tea. Feed tea schedule. I have historically brewed my own in 10-gallon batches. Cultured teas provide an undeniable convenience with quality teas on demand. I know there are hundreds of variables in brewed teas, but speaking specifically to use with the Nectar line, are you giving up anything by going with the instant teas? This is in lieu of a basic worm casting Alaskan humus tea. Thanks.
I mean, you're giving up some diversity. But, the culture teas are great for the sake of the simplicity piece. You can literally just add it right at the last minute. You don't have to spend 24 to 48 hours of brewing. You don't have to make sure they're fed. You're just adding it and letting the spores do their work in the soil. I would still recommend every once in a while doing, per veg cycle, per bloom cycle, do a full tea with your humus and your castings and your compost sources because it's offering diversity. And when you have that microbial diversity in the root zone, the more beneficial it's going to be to the plant, to the soil biota, to the fungi. I mean, everything that lives in the soil is going to benefit from having diverse microbes.
It seems like maybe you kind of benefit from doing both because when you do your tea, you get diversity, but it may not be the diversity you're looking for. You don't know exactly what you got in there, whereas this, what you got in there. So a little bit of both can be.
By label, you know what's in there. By life, you don't. Yeah. So unless you're you have your own microscope and you're a soil biologist, you're probably not going to know exactly what you have going on. However, the nice thing about diversity in microbial fields is that they consume each other as they life cycle. So if you start to have an imbalance of one or the other or the next, they naturally just balance each other out. So I always recommend at least one or two natural compost worm casting style. But boy, those cultured teas sure are easy to use. So, and the nice thing is you're not doing anything wrong. A lot of people don't use any teas, any microbials, and they still kill it with the line. So anything you add as a microbial, you're going to benefit from. So whether it's Microbe Life, SLF, cultured teas, or your own home brews, you're going to come up with something.
There you go. Okay, Isaac Santiago says, really good info, guys. Thanks a lot. I'm getting into growing my own.
How does he know? We just answered it. Just kidding.
No, this is about his. He's talking about the
last
video. These are comments from videos.
Oh, this isn't like
and
he's
see,
like
here's
not real
the tough
time.
deal is when I just put it on this list is we don't know which video it was from.
You don't have any idea?
Well, if I go back,
cut this list.
I don't. I live in the moment, Scott.
But that's not like. I mean, that's. Come on.
Well, he knows.
What's he talking about?
Well, we're gonna get to it. It says I'm getting into growing my own. I've seen farms have good results from the Nectar line, so thinking of giving it a shot. Seems complicated to a newbie like myself. Seems complicated to me too. Still don't get it. But I'm dumb.
They're not dumb.
Wow.
Some people just have black thumbs.
But all this info you guys put out definitely going to help. Currently binge watching your videos so I can figure out the simplest method for the line. And so this is not actually a question, but I thought it could be a question that if you were, maybe someone's coming new to this, or if you were coming, how would you get started, and how would you learn the line in a way where it was going to work for you early on and that you can grow with it?
I would work with this line the way we started this line, and with the basic 4 products.
The Spartan regimen.
Yeah, and learn the line. I mean, if you really want to learn this line, you start with 4, and you add on 1 or 2 at a time. You know, I never recommend running the full line. Even to guys who run the full line, I kind of sit there and scratch my head. And I mean, I get this stuff for free, and I don't use the whole line. The whole line's different for everybody. I mean, your environment's different, your grow's different, your soil, your pots, your lighting, everything. There's so many variables in growing. What I like to tell people is start with a 4 or 6. I mean,
so 4 is like the base. 4 is the kind of the minimum, the basics. 6 or 7 up into there is stuff that's better, and then
enhance.
8 on is flavorings and additives and stuff like that. Would you say?
Cures and fixes and corrections, and I mean, so. But if you throw everything at the growth that first time, you don't know what did what, why it did it, and how it benefited you. So if you start with 4, then the next time you run 2 more, then you see the difference, then you know whether or not that's worth it. The next time run another thing, try, you know. The other thing too, there's a lot of grow communities out there. There's, you know, nectar specific grow communities out there that are just nectar related grows. What? Are you kidding?
No, it's on.
Like, well,
I felt like the microphone wasn't on.
See you Monday. Bye-bye.
Just felt like the microphone. I'm sorry. Just felt like the microphone wasn't on. But you go ahead. Did you remember what you were saying?
Yeah, just search out grow communities. There's specific ones for nectar.
Well, Nectar Fam hashtag anywhere should help you get.
Get you started
on your specific social media. Yeah.
Yep. And then one thing we found with nectar growers is that they're generally pretty good people, and they really like to share information. There's not a lot of nectar people that the guys that are posting about nectar are willing to help everybody with nectar. The guys that are killing with nectar that don't post about nectar aren't going to teach you anything.
Because they're trying to keep it secret.
Well, they're doing what they're doing because they got there. And
good to go.
Yeah.
I got mine. So let me ask you this, though, about, because there's as far as which products you use and how you use them and all that, but there's a lot of stuff like, you know, the mixing, the pHing, the slurry, stuff like that. How would you simplify all that? I mean, how often would you do the slurry testing when you're first getting started? More or less, or is that?
If I was only running 4 products, I would probably do it, you know, only if I saw an issue.
Okay. So all this stuff we talk about really gets as you get deeper into it. But when you're using those 4, get your pH right and mix them in the order they're in, and you're probably going to be okay.
And the less you use of these, like the 4, the less your pH is going to be crazy. So it's a less correction. It's less. I mean, you can do a lot of this with litmus paper or that little, you know, drop test kit.
Yeah.
Minus Zeus. Zeus, man, I'll tell you, if you can read the color through Zeus, you're in great vision. But
so would you back off on all the other stuff too? I mean, there's a lot of nectar type, plays well type products. Would you have maybe just like one microbial?
I wouldn't do any of them. I'd be literally 4 products.
So you wouldn't even use a microbial to get started.
If you're using a good potting soil, you shouldn't need one.
You're gonna be okay.
You're not
life in there is
pushing it. This isn't a commercial farm. You're not trying to get, you know, 3 pounds of light. You're literally just trying to grow, to figure out how this stuff works, make a healthy plant. Just run the 4, and then if you're brand new to growing, you know, if you're brand new to car racing, you know what they don't do? Put you in Formula 1.
Yeah.
Because you're going to crash in seconds. Like, you can't even leave the pits because you will be spinning out.
You're in a regular car with a nice seatbelt, basically. That's where they start you off.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Like, see that Impala? Yeah, well, we got that off the lot. Drive that around the track at 100 while you poop your pants. Now jump into a Formula 4 and see what happens. Then a 1. I mean,
yeah.
So you don't just go right to the pro level on anything. Pro level in this world does not mean that you're a professional grower. That just means that you've taken everything we've gotten and used it as the fanciest toolbox you've got. And use those. I mean, use them as tools. But for new guys, start with a 4 and a pH adjuster. So the 4 Medusa guys, Zeus, Herculean, and then Olympus up for your pH and Hades for your pH down. Start with that. You're going to grow a really happy, healthy, tasty plant. The next time, run Demeters and Athenas. See what they do. The addition of more calcium, the addition of more amino acids. See how they play. see the difference, then start adding more and more and more.
Okay. Good answer. Good
That
answer.
was an answer. I don't know about good.
So, Phase 23 LBC, he must be from Long Beach.
Why is that?
Long Beach City, the LBC.
Oh, I've read that differently. I thought that was part of some...
It is. It
All
is. All right. This was a great Back to Basics video, something we need to pay attention to when using Nectar for the Gods. This was about the little piece about the pH. And he has a question. Question. When using Nectar for the Gods number 8 medium, if transplanting from rapid root or plugs, how long into veg can I use just clean water, filtered with zero... filtered with 0 water pitcher. Oh, 0 water pitcher. Then he filters with a pitcher. Cultured biologic teas, SLF 100 and photosynthesis plus. Before we need to start a complete sample kit regimen. I have seedlings getting ready to transplant, already using Zeus juice. Should I wait a week or two into veg before beginning complete sample kit regimen?
Yeah, I mean, if you're using the SLF, the cultured, and the photosynthesis in there...
Yeah.
I mean,
so, but would you not use all the products, or would you use less of the products, the nutrients coming into getting started?
One or the other. So either less, I mean, run with the seedling mix after, so transplant, get them transplanted in. I rarely ever feed at transplant.
Yeah.
Just because they're seedlings, so that you don't have much to feed.
Sure. Do you do a little foliar, though, maybe, or something? Maybe not.
Not even.
Yeah,
They're seedlings.
Throw it in there. Yeah.
Just put it in, yeah. I mean, I don't want to mix up a whole thing to go, okay, that's done. And throw this quarter away, so no, breathe on them.
All right.
Yeah, about a week and a half, and then you could easily start with half strength to get them aggressively growing. If you could go a few weeks without, but you're not going to see a lot of growth or development if you're not giving them the nutrition. But they're not going to starve. They're not going to freak out. But to me, there's enough food in there for a few weeks, but it's not a hot food, so you're not going to be overwhelmed by too much nutrition. So you can feed pretty much once they've put on 3-4 sets of leaves. I start doing the sample kit, basically, or Greek at half strength.
Okay.
Or if you just want to really take it easy, use just Gaia for the first week and a half, 2 weeks with Zeus. And then once they really start developing, then start adding the Medusa and everybody else to that lineup.
What do you think about using one shot as part of your regimen? If you were doing that, when would you have that in the soil, and would that be feeding right off, or would the Zeus be grabbing some of that up?
No, because the one shot needs at least a week of hydration to germinate the bacteria, up to 2 to 3 weeks to get the mycorrhiza colonies to start. So, I mean, even with one shot in the soil, even though it's been, I mean, if you got it fresh, you have your number 8 soil, you put it in and transplant, it's not 100%, it's not available yet.
I got you, sure.
So
not even
a little bit of Gaia is going to charge the plant, charge the root zone, and then also start breaking down the actual one shot. Within a week to 10 days, the one shot will start leaching nice and slow like it's designed to do, and then feed your plants as a backup.
Nice. But not if they don't need it. So it's kind of like a...
Yeah, I mean, they're always going to need soluble calcium, because
Sure.
even with the one shot, there's calcium in it, and that's a question that I keep getting is, calcium syrup as a base or balance for chaos instead of Herculean, or, and they said, make that a question. So...
It's a question now.
It was on the Facebook.
You're talking Persephone, right?
Persephone, sorry, yeah. So a guy online asked about Persephone being a calcium source to balance chaos.
It's calcium syrup.
It is, but it's calcium lignosulfate.
Different thing entirely.
It is. It's a tree sap lignin, but it's a sulfate. So what the downfall is so not all... When you read a label, I mean, you're working on a bone meal label right now for dry, and the calcium is 22% or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, that's total calcium, not at all available.
All right.
And
so it's more like Persephone's more like a molasses kind of situation.
It is, with like 1% to 1.5% calcium. I mean, I'll have to go back and look at the labs. Our Herculean is a soluble 4.3% calcium.
Boom, ready to go
at the time of watering. So not all calciums are available the same way. The other problem with a lignin sulfate calcium is that you have a sulfur attached to that, which is great in a sense of we found that sulfates help develop and enhance terpene profiles in plants. to a level, but too much, you can get too much. And then when
Sure.
sulfur starts building up in your soil, then we start to see fungal issues that don't want to live in the sulfur-rich medium.
Sure.
You're not putting enough in by feeding Persephone, but if you were trying to balance 6 tablespoons of Persephone to 1 teaspoon of hurt or
It's going.
chaos,
Yeah.
then you have too much
No
sulfur, and you will be not killing your mycorrhiza, but definitely slowing down development, production, and growth. And
maybe
absorption.
your flavor might go.
Well, or who knows?
Who knows?
They've never pushed that 6 tablespoons. So
don't.
and really calcium phosphate is really the calcium we're looking for to balance how chaos. Because when chaos is working in the plant, it's making the cell tissue. It's growing at such a rapid rate. When chaos hits it, it makes the plant want to develop and split cells, make more leaf matter, make more vegetation, make more fruit, whatever stage it's in. And to do that, it needs the amino acid blocks and the calcium chains to make those things form.
And that's where it gets in the calcium phosphate from that, not
because
some other
it's
calcium.
now available. And Demeter's is great, but it's a chelating calcium, so it's designed to go break down cocoa fiber, peat moss, compost. It's bringing out the minerals from that. So too much of that, I think that it chelates too much nitrogen. I'm not a big fan of Demeter's as being our balance. Triton's doesn't have the same calcium period as a cartilage.
Demeter's more like a magnesium thing, oddly enough, because it's
just
bringing things like that up because it's reacting. It's not feeding it calcium. It's using calcium.
Open bonds to create that bond with the magnesium. So really our best source to balance chaos's crazy plant growth is the calcium phosphate from bone meal.
Boom.
So there's that.
All right. That's the show. Thanks for stopping by.
That's Friday.
I'll see you on Monday.
Yeah.
Hey. For more information about anything on today's show, go to our website, OCGFAM418. And if you buy anything while you're there, use the code FAMHARVEST. It's going to save you 20%, and it's a lot of fun. The OCG Fam Show, it's pretty good. It happens every day. It's the OCG Fam Show. See you on Monday.